named after Tyler. This revolution won't be televised, we keep it silent. Hold on, I ain't a read them at their own game. Molotov cocktail, listen, up in flames. How to being stepped on, and being held back. Look through my rear view, thinking about the baby.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're here with Juzzie, and this is my TweakedGSX. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing some modifications to this bike to turn it into what you see it is now. It looks super nice, really fresh and clean, carbon parts, some protective parts, mirrors, and now this isn't the last mod. I do have levers to go, but tomorrow I am meeting up with my riding group, and I told them that I wanted to do the exhaust last, but I'm going to do probably the levers and something like that last. So I thought, okay, I will get about finally and pleasing you guys, because I've seen it in the comments that you'd like to see the Yoshimura R11 exhaust installed. Right, so I've just given the carbon a wipe down with the CarPro eraser. And just to give you an idea of what comes off, so even after I washed the surface to get any dirt off it, I then used CarPro eraser and that's what came off. So you want to make sure you get it nice and clean. I guess this is what it's like when you're working with genuine carbon fiber. So every bit where there's a cutout, etc., you're going to have some kind of like splintery carbon fiber. It is actually finished very nice, but there is some parts where there's very, very tiny splinters that you can see there, and so you want to make sure you just get it as good and clean as you can in preparation for the ceramic coating. Alright, so I've just put 4 to 5 drops of ceramic coating, the CarPro CK Quartz 3.0, onto this cover, and it's hard to do this with 2 hands. So I'm going to stop in a second recording and just do it properly. But you can see here that when you apply the ceramic coating, how it just wets the surface. If you can see, dry on the right, wet on the left. And you don't need to go over and over it again. You just need to make sure that you get a nice equal layer of this ceramic coating all around the exhaust. So I'm going to put the camera down now to finish it, and I'll show you how it looks after. Alright, so as you can see, I've got the exhaust sitting on a box here because the way that the exhaust is designed, if you have it flat on the table, the carbon is actually going to be touching the ground. So if you do decide to do something like this, just make sure you can let it sit so that it dries for no more than 2 minutes. As it's doing that, you can see the gloss that it's on it. It's actually just, yeah, really brought it back to life. So in a second, I'm just going to use a new microfiber towel to actually get to buff it a bit. Alright guys, so now that I've actually given the exhaust some time to cure the second coat of ceramic coating, you can see there it's looking pretty nice. So I'm just going to have a look at now how to actually remove the silencer from the inner barrel. So it needs a torque headed driver. So this is a T30. So you can see there on the side T30. And this particular one was not tightened in very far. Now, people say that you need to be careful when you remove this screw because, as you can see, there is a gap there between this carbon fiber and that bolt. So I'm going to put the camera down. I'm going to tilt the exhaust so it's upside down and turn it so that if it does fall out of the thread, it should just go straight back down. It should just fall straight down. Okay, so sure enough, the bolt that came out was not very long, and yes, it's correct that I can just imagine that if you've got the bike in a stationary position, that this bolt that comes with it, if you try to undo it, it won't actually come out very easily. It was way easier to have it upside down. So it might even be worthwhile upgrading to a longer one. This one just seems to be about 1 centimeter long, and I guess if you went to a longer one like 15 to 20 mil, it'd be easier to pull out when the exhaust is actually fitted. So when I removed that bolt, that's what it looks like there. So you can see on this side, you can just make out the thread that's in there, and yeah, this doesn't appear to have anything else locking it in. Okay, so now that I've removed the silencer from the exhaust. That's what it looks like. And there is a ring that comes off from here. But the bolt, I've put the bolt back in. So I was thinking initially that, okay, I might put the bolt in there, but that part's actually not threaded. It's the actual insert that is threaded. So even if you decide to take this stem out, the silencer itself, but leave this ring, the ring doesn't have the actual thread in it. It's the actual, you can see it's a welded nut on the inside of this stem. So I was thinking I could play around with not having it absolutely loud by having that ring there, but I won't be. So that means you can't actually put a bolt in here. So a tiny bit of exhaust gas sort of goes in the inside of this carbon cover, but you can have this rubber grommet on here to make it look more presentable. So I've just got my trusty King Chrome. It's a 6mm set, and I'm going to undo this bolt here. Nice and easy, pretty much like most bikes. Very similar kind of process. The exhaust has a heat shield on it. However, and I'll bring the camera down for you. So the first part I did was just unbolt that bolt. That's nice and easy. Second part is here, underneath the heat shielding for the exhaust. You'll see that there is a clamp. Right, so the same Allen key to undo this clamp here. Okay, so you don't have to undo it totally, it's just a clamp. It's just enough so that you can loosen the clamp so that the slip-on actually slides off the bike. Okay, so now that that clamp has been undone down there, we now need to look at this bolt. Comes out slightly a little bit easier now, and we just need to gently move that mid pipe away, maneuvering, twisting that off. Alright, so I'm back now with the clamp which I've taken from the stock exhaust, removed the heat shields and pried this off, and then so now I've slipped it on with the tightening nut on the top side so that the bolt enters from the bottom. And so now it's just a case of just very carefully, so you do it with it out here so you've got heaps of maneuver to bring it up, and then, no, not quite, just got to go a little bit more. There you go, so I've got it right now. So the next step is to get the factory bolt with the washer, feed that over just like that, hand tighten the nut. I can say I'm super excited to get this tightened up. So I just want to put this in a way that it's just slightly hidden there. Rotate the bolt so that it's just out of the way. So it doesn't have to be done too tight, because you do have a bolt at the back here. It's not going to come off. Okay, so that's nice and tight. So let us take a moment to stand together and watch the beauty that is the Yoshimura R11 exhaust. Look at that. Look at it. Oh yeah. Alright guys, so yesterday I started to film a video about the exhaust, and I realised that when I was running it, it did sound good. Like, I took it for a ride on the weekend with my friends when there was a 1-day gap with no rain. But what I actually found was that the bike just didn't seem as loud as what it could potentially go to. And I noticed that when I had a look down the end cap in here, that there was a silencer that was in there. Now I can't get the light to show it properly, but in a moment I will actually open it up and show you what that looks like. Okay, so here is a cold start with the bike having the both silencers in. So a tiny bit rattly there, but you'll get the idea that it's absolutely silent as, and you can't really hear the camshafts at all. So I'll do another one now, just removing that silencer. Okay, so a lot nicer. It's really got a nice deep bass to it, but certainly there is some restriction there, and you can most likely hear that the camshaft LOPE is not at its 100% full effect. So I'm going to remove the exhaust now, and we'll have a look how to remove that spot welded silencer. Alright, so as you can see, I've just slipped off the muffler, undone the clamp and the bolt up on the right right stand for the foot peg. So I'm just using a pulling tool to remove the springs. Okay guys, so I've just separated the mid pipe from the muffler itself. So here's what it looks like inside. So this part here can't simply just be pulled out, and the reason is because just there, don't know if you can see it properly, but just there, at least just there, there is a spot weld. It's only about, probably, I'm going to guess 3 or 4 mil, but as you go around, you'll see that there is a clear break, and then there's that part. So from what I can see, it hits a baffle here, and then the exhaust air comes out through this, and then it goes through the muffler itself. So I'm going to try and break this part free, and worst case scenario, if I find that the sound is overbearingly loud, then I have the option to put the silencer in the end cap and have this one left removed. So this is not some sort of cat in any way, it's simply just a means to try and silence the exhaust a little bit, so for domestic use. But I know that I want to hear what it sounds like, and I'm sure that you're here for the same purpose as well. So yep, I'm just going to try and cut that little spot weld now and see if it comes off. So as you can see here, I've managed to grind that little tab off, and then I've just been thinking, oh, how can I get this out? And it is just as tight. The tolerance is just amazing in this machinery, but it's not impossible. So I just used a little chisel to try and separate it out, and I'm just finding, just basically got to rock it one side to the other to try and get it out. So you can see here it's sliding out a little bit. I'll just try some more. Alright, so how ridiculous does this thing look? So just look at how much volume that is taking up in that exhaust. So yeah, huge restriction. Now I noticed that from factory the slip-on has some sort of metallic lead, soft lead, I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of, it's not a tape, but it's kind of pressed so that it forms like the shape of a tape. And that's what keeps the exhaust systems that you go to put on your bike from sounding like absolute crap. There's a lot of videos out there where there's air just pouring out of that joint where you clamp on. Alright, the exhaust is mounted back, there's no silencers on. Let's get this start going. Just listen to those camshafts. Alright, so I'm not going to be doing any rev bombing here because I'm in a residential street, but I've just put the end silencer back in now. The mid-pipe silencer has been removed. I'm just going to do a start up and just see what sort of difference this makes. Alright, so with that end silencer in and the bolt not done up, it is a little bit rattly, but as you can see, all of that camshaft lope goes away again. You can see that lope is everything that I loved about this bike, and I'm sure that if you have bought this bike or you've considered buying this bike over the 1000, to me, that is the big selling point for it. Sounds absolutely amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so happy with this. I'm just lucky I got a exhaust which was in pretty good condition. In my next video you'll actually see that I can actually lowered the bike, so the forks at the front are lower and I've actually put a lowering rod on. So I'm going to be posting that video, I think it's my next one, and I do have a plan to blacken out the forks that are here. And lastly, just last night I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to buy the non-genuine but carbon looking rear seat cowl to just see what my thoughts are. It was only 80 Australian dollars delivered from AE, so it means that I'll be able to easily access my lockable storage area, and it will have some carbon, so we'll see what that looks like. Alright guys, I hope that you've really enjoyed watching this video. This is probably one of the best things that I've done for this bike. To me, the ride and the handling, it's super smooth, it sounds great. The exhaust sounded really good when I took it out on the weekend. I know a lot of you have been going, oh, I can't wait to hear the exhaust, and I don't know about you, but I reckon that sounds so good. So if you think that sounds really good too, drop me a comment below and definitely subscribe and tell me what you think about it. I love it. I'll see you guys next time.
I can't tell you what it really is. I can only tell you what it feels like. And right now it's a steel knife in my windpipe. I can't breathe, but I still fight while I can fight. As long as the road feels right, it's like I'm in flight. High off a log, drunk on my hate. It's like I'm up in pain. I love the more suffer.